Good morning. You're watching us live here on India Today's social media handles. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, back this morning to get you a roundup of all the top stories that we're tracking. The story that's dominated headlines this morning and through the week really has been what's happened in Lakhimpur. I just want to show you something. This is a new video that's emerged. I'm not sure how much really you'll be able to see on my phone here, but this is a video that's emerged, a 46-second video of exactly how things transpired in Lakhimpur on Sunday. You can catch that full video on India Today's websites or our social media handles as well. It's a horrifying video to say the least. I mean, no amount of description can really tell you until you see that video for yourself as to exactly what happened in Lakhimpur. This is a 46-second video in which you can see two SUVs going full speed into protesters who are walking peacefully. They've got flags in their hand. They're oblivious to vehicles coming from behind them and get rammed into. It's horrifying to say the least and really tells you what played out in Lakhimpur. Now, believe it or not, this is a video that's out of the public domain that you and I can watch. You've got at least 7 to 8 such videos that have emerged in the last few days since Sunday, which is when the incident happened. So technically now it's been 4 days since the violence. Not a single arrest by the Uttar Pradesh police. They've been investigating this case, and not a single person has been taken into custody so far. Now, they've said that, we'll ensure a fair, impartial investigation. The reality is that whoever was behind those incidents of SUVs ramming into protesters hasn't been found. They've not been taken into custody. And the reality is that while you have so many videos emerging, which means that, the police has proof, hard evidence of exactly what happened, faces that are seen in these videos, they've not made a single arrest. The allegation that's been doing the rounds is that a union minister, Ajay Mishra, he's the MOS home, his son, Ashish Mishra, is involved. But have we seen his arrest, his questioning so far? Absolutely not. Now, in routine cases, in any such case, you'd see that when allegations come to the fore, at least that person's statement is taken in. So far, he's not been questioned. He is continuing to defend himself, which he has the right to do. He's saying he wasn't present at the spot. But the reality is that the Uttar Pradesh police hasn't found a need to even question him on the allegations that the SUV that you see in that 45-second video belonged to him. The farmers who are protesting there have maintained that he was present at the spot and it was at his behest that this happened. He says that he wasn't present at the spot. So yes, you have two versions, but the police hasn't even looked into this version because they haven't questioned Ashish Mishra. So a lot of questions that will be asked right now of the UP police, rightly so. 4 days, there's so much national outrage over what happened. 8 people have died, and yet you've got no sort of progress in the investigation so far. That's perhaps why you've also got the Supreme Court taking note of what's happened. They've taken suo motu cognizance, which means that essentially nobody approached the Supreme Court or filed a petition saying, look into this case. They've decided that looking at what's happened in Lakhimpur, there's a need for the judiciary to intervene. So the top court has taken note. That hearing is happening today. And here on India Today, we'll get you the latest updates of what really emerges from the Lakhimpur hearing in the Supreme Court. Remember that as far as the UP government is concerned, they've ordered a judicial investigation so far. A judicial probe under a retired High Court judge has been ordered, but there's been no progress so far, especially with videos such as this one emerging. Nothing's been done yet about the fact that you've got cars that rammed into protesters while they were completely oblivious. And if you see this video, full speed, the SUV, 2 of them in fact, ram into these protesters. It was in this incident that 4 of the farmers died. Besides that, what we've heard from the reports on the ground and from eyewitness accounts and from the videos that we've got and that we've pieced together, it looks like after this, there was endless violence and clashes that broke out. So we'll have to see what really the Supreme Court has to say on this matter. But there's no doubt that the authorities here need to pull up their socks and need to progress with the investigation fast. As far as really all of the reactions that have come in on this case is concerned, the last few days, there's been a lot of politics that's been playing out. Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi have been at the forefront for the Congress in pushing and piling pressure on the government. You had Priyanka Gandhi arrested. Yesterday, finally, the Uttar Pradesh government, after blocking protesters for the opposition parties for the last many days, have now approved party leaders visiting the site. They've said, of course, that only 5 people can go at a time. So Rahul and Priyanka late last night did meet with the families of some of these victims, and they've made it very clear that they're going to continue the fight for justice. Rahul Gandhi staged a brief dharna at the Lucknow airport yesterday, after which he picked up his sister, who was released after being arrested, and they went and visited some of these families. Today, Akhilesh Yadav will also be meeting with the family members of these victims. Now, there has been a lot of debate over this, but the BJP saying that, this is tragedy tourism, that this is political tourism, and opposition parties trying to use this in the run-up to the UP elections for their own political benefits. The opposition maintains that they need to do this. They need to do this to pile pressure on the government and ensure that the government is forced to act. So there are two sides of this argument. Wherever you stand, the reality is that the opposition is really upping the ante and ensuring that the government isn't allowed to really let go of this incident. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, soon after the incident had happened, had said that they will ensure action is taken and that there is a fair investigation. But the opposition has been demanding that one Union Minister, Ajay Mishra, I mentioned how his son is involved. They said he must resign. Priyanka Gandhi has said that while he is in power, there's no way there will be a fair investigation while he's in office. So they're saying that Ajay Mishra must resign, Ashish Mishra must be arrested. So far, that's what's happened in this case, really. And as we continue getting you the latest on the Lakhimpur violence, I just want to also round up for you the other top stories of the day. You've got also, of course, the drug bust case by the NCB. There's been a lot of murky politics that's played out on this. Before that, I'll just get you an update on the investigation. Today, Aryan Khan's bail plea comes up for hearing. We have to wait and watch to see if he secures bail. The last time around, when he was produced in court, the NCB had said that they had incriminating evidence against him. They had WhatsApp chats in which Aryan reportedly was speaking to others, his friends, alleged drug suppliers, about how to buy drugs, mode of payment, etc. So today in the hearing, we'll have to see whether the NCB seeks extension of custody. They've been very tight-lipped on that matter, on whether they're going to be seeking more custody or not. I mentioned that there's politics also playing out over this. Let me tell you exactly what's happened. Yesterday, you had a minister in the Maharashtra government, Nawab Malik, who's an NCP leader, alleging that 2 people, a private detective Kiran Gosavi and a BJP worker Manish Bhanushali, were with the NCB when the raids happened, and he released videos of them at the NCB office the day Aryan Khan was detained. So he's claiming that these raids were politically motivated, that these raids were targeted at Shah Rukh Khan because of the comment that he'd made about intolerance many years back. The BJP is hit back saying that, this is not true at all. Beyond that, the NCB, the Narcotics Control Bureau, which has also been accused of working at BJP's behest, has said that this is not true at all. They're saying that this seems to be an attempt to essentially retaliate at the NCB. Because remember that Nawab Malik's son-in-law was also, in fact, under the NCB radar. In fact, he was arrested in a drug case, was spent 8 months really in prison. So the NCB is saying that it's because of that Nawab Malik is trying to take it out really on the Narcotics Control Bureau. So a lot of politics also that's playing out between the BJP and the Mahavikas Aghadi right now, with allegations that the entire raid and the targeting of Aryan Khan was completely political. Let me also tell you about the other story, about Durga Puja. Happy Navratri to all of you. The festive season is officially upon us. There's a lot of politics again over this, unsurprisingly. Amid the pandemic, a number of curbs that have been put in place in Bengal for Durga Puja. You've got a lot of announcements and instructions, directives from the government on exactly what pandals should look like, about a lot more spacing, about physical distancing, etc. The BJP is cried foul over this. They claim that there were no such restrictions for Eid, that clerics were allowed to go ahead and impose the restrictions, decide how exactly Eid will be celebrated safely. But for a Hindu festival, they say that the government is coming out with curbs. And this is a narrative that's, being put out in many parts of the country, not just in Bengal. In Karnataka, Tejasvi Surya has also said, BJP MP, Yuva Morcha chief of the BJP, he's also said that, there's a need not to target Hindu festivals. He's written to the BBMP commissioner. The BBMP is essentially the Bengaluru civic body, where he said that there's a need to ensure that there are no curbs during these festivities, and many BJP leaders essentially claiming that, look, you've got Hindu festivals being targeted. So that's another story that we're tracking closely here on India Today. The Lakhimpur story, much more, remains our top focus. Remember, you can always tune into our social media handles for all the live updates. That's it from